Hello, welcome back to Luke Talks Palace. It is the end of the season, so we need the end of the season Crystal Palace Award show. As always, if you are new around here, do not forget to subscribe and do not forget to like the video if you're also enjoying it. Now, these awards, they're going to be very, contentious, very up for debate. I do completely understand that your opinions will differ from mine, possibly on some moments, probably not on others. So if you have any different answers to the ones I'm going to be giving for my Crystal Palace end of the season awards, then please do put them in the comments and let's have a lot of debate in them comments down below. Now, there's not too many awards. There's about 6 or 7 that I'm going to be giving out, let's say. So I'm going to have a third, second, first for each one, apart from one category. So yeah, let me know if you enjoy this content and please do subscribe. There's going to be so much transfer news over the course of the summer. There's going to be so much content on here. I will still be doing weekly content now that I'm back. So do not miss out. Get your Crystal Palace fix right here on this channel. Right, let's dive in straight into the awards. We are going to save the big ones for the end, and we're going to start with the Young Player of the Season award. Now, for me, this one is clearly based on academy players. There's been a few shining lights in this category for sure. Caleb Kapora has done really well this season. Jesse Derry's had a really good season. Ola Adebomi is another who's had a really good season. But for me, this is a category which just has one position, first place, and that goes to Hindlo Mustafa. Now, this guy is only 18 years old, but in the academy for the under 21s, 11 goals, 4 assists from attacking midfield. He has been so good this season, so good he is now getting touted by the likes of PSV and Ajax. When them two come calling for your academy products, you know you have a future star. Combine that with the fact that he's now playing senior football for Sierra Leone, where he also has a goal. It has been a fantastic season for him. Hindlo Mustafa, congratulations, Young Player of the Season award for me. Now let's dive into a category that is definitely going to have a lot of debate to it. The most improved player. Now this one, I do have a third, a second and a first. There are so many players who have massively improved under Glasner in his first full season, and it's been delightful to see. But for me, in third place, I am actually going to go with Daichi Kamada. Now, I know that might be one that maybe surprises a few because he's only literally been here for the season. But if you go from how bad people were saying he was in February or March, and a lot of people wanted him out of the club basically already 6 months into his first full season, his improvement from then into April and May has been ridiculous. He has now become a starting player, a key starting player, and one that we all love. He had key roles in the semi-final against Villa, in the final against Man City, and in the games around it as well in the Premier League. Kamada has been a shining light towards the end of the season. It has been great to see all the Palace fans now fall in love with him. It really does show why you need to give some transfers some time. Some players do take time to adapt, and he took about 6 months. But that improvement from there to what he is now, I mean, you remember his sending off against Fulham in November, really unnecessary stuff like that. And you see him now, and it is an absolutely class improvement. For me, in second place is actually Will Hughes. Now, he was already good last season, but I think he's even gone even further and even better. And he's been really, really good this season. I mean, up until April, he was one of the key starting players. He was so good on the ball, and that's why I think I put him in this most improved category. He was so good at getting the ball forward, something we haven't seen as much in the past. Then obviously his pressing, his defending, his tackling has been top notch for most of the season. But in at number one, he had to get an award for me. In my opinion, he has been one of the shining lights of the season. It is Captain America himself, Chris Richards. Now, the improvement from Chris Richards has been ridiculous. He was a player that even the club didn't want to start in the starting 11. You know, we brought in Trevor Chalobah. He came in, he took Richards' position, and we all loved that. We all thought Richards was a perfect substitute player, someone perfect for the squad depth. However, Chelsea taking Chalobah from us has been one of the best things that has happened for us this season, and arguably may have been the catalyst for us winning the FA Cup. Chris Richards since then has been ridiculous. He has been one of my favourite players since. He has shown most of us, I know there's a lot out there who did really rate him beforehand, but he has shown a lot of us that he is so good and he deserves a starting position under Glasner. I mean, the away games since Richards has been in the side have been ridiculous. We were on a long undefeated streak. What is so good about Richards is he is physical. He is so good in the air. I mean, the FA Cup final, the headers Richards was making, there is no way that Chalobah is making them. Not only that, but he's rapid. He can fill in at kind of right back when Daniel Munoz is pushing up too far. And he is also pushing into midfield when needed to press attackers. If one of Wharton, Hughes, or whatever is in that midfield is missing, Richards has been the one pushing up, getting the tackles in, and shining for us. Chris Richards, what a phenomenal season from him. Arguably could have been in my shout for player of the season, but he just about didn't make it, and that's why for me he is most improved player. Now let's move on to best signing. Now this is best signing from last summer. This season, there has been some shining lights for sure that have been new signings. And for this, there are only two people that I've put in the running. In second place for me, of course, Maxence Lacroix. Now, he has been fantastic. There were lots of neutral fans out there saying, why would you sell Joachim Andersen and replace him with Lacroix? Well, you've seen exactly why. Lacroix is more physical, he's quicker, and he's really, really good on the ball. Not as good as Andersen. That is obviously where he falls apart. But at a club like Crystal Palace, we don't need that long ball as much because we play more on the counter. Lacroix has saved us from countless goals just sincerely due to his rapid pace, and he plays as the central centre-back. Now, for me, that is the most hardest position on the pitch in Glasner's formation. He has a lot of pressure. The centre-backs are pushing forward, the full-backs are pushing forward, but it's always Lacroix who's staying back, being that rock in defence. And wow, the amount of counter-attacks he has stopped, just sincerely due to his tackling and pace, has been ridiculous. However, in at number one, it probably is obvious right now, is Ismaila Sarr. Now, when you lose Michael Olise, one of the best players who was in the Premier League last season, and now one of the best players in Europe, finally people are starting to understand how good he is. You have a lot of pressure under your name. In steps Ismaila Sarr. Now, it wasn't the perfect start for him. He was seen more as a substitute, and a lot of us saw him as the Jordan Ayew replacement, not the Michael Olise replacement. But since Glasner has moved Nketiah off the starting 11 onto the bench and put Ismaila Sarr there, it has been a revelation for us. Sarr is electric. I mean, you have seen some of these centre-backs this season in the Premier League who are so good on the ball, absolutely terrified of playing on the ball because of Sarr. They will just kick it out because they get so stressed. He is lethal on the counter-attack. He pounces on errors, and he has been clinical when needed to be. I really don't think Sarr gets a lot of opportunities, a lot of chances, but he takes the one he gets. I mean, who could forget how pivotal he's been in every Aston Villa match? He's got half of his goal contributions against Aston Villa this season. But sincerely, for his pace, he has been so good for us. He really helps. He works really well with Mateta. And of course, his 2 goals in the semi-final. Crucial, crucial. What a signing, especially for what? Was it like 12 million we signed Sarr for this summer? What a bargain. Next up is moment of the season. Now, this one is really, really hard, maybe, should I say? I'm obviously kidding you there, but let's go in at number 3. For me, in at number 3 is Ismaila Sarr's first goal in the FA Cup semi-final. Now, we were 1-0 up at this time. We had just missed a penalty in the 51st minute, and I think a lot of Palace fans out there would have thought, okay, this is it. Villa are going to turn us over now. This is the turning of the tide. However, 5 minutes or around that after that penalty miss, Ismaila Sarr steps up and he scores a beautiful, beautiful goal. I had the perfect angle for it. You could see it before it was even going in, but to shoot from outside the box, beautiful scenes, completely won us that game, that goal. And it was just the chaos in that Wembley end after he scored. The limbs were wild. Next up in at number 2 is Dean Henderson's penalty save in the FA Cup final. Now, obviously, Henderson had a big FA Cup final. We won't talk about, maybe possible decisions that went our way. But Man City did get a penalty when we were 1-0 up half an hour in, and they missed it. But they only missed it because of Dean Henderson. Now, Dean Henderson stepped up. He was confident, and it summed up the last 6 months of his season with that penalty save. A lovely save, and then gets up and stops the cross from Haaland as well. Again, cue ridiculous limbs in that Wembley end, and just cue the end of a phenomenal season for Dean Henderson. But for me, of course, the moment of the season has to go to Eze's goal in the FA Cup final. Now, we were getting peppered for the first 15 minutes. City weren't producing lots of great chances, but I just felt like we were under the cosh. We were in our half, we were camped in, we hadn't had any chances. Up steps the best counter-attack of the season. We go long, Richards goes long, Mateta does beautifully to hold it up. passes it to Kamada, who again does beautifully to pass the ball forward instead of turning backwards and slowing it down. Mateta releases Munoz, and it just summed up our season, this goal. That's why it's moment of the season. You saw players doing something they've done all season so well, and it was perfect. Munoz bombarding down the right side of the wing, crosses it into Eze, who the finish, by the way, is ridiculous. Like, that is a very hard ball to score, and he just did it. He took it in his stride, and it caused chaos again in that Wembley end. What a moment. Best moment of the season. Sealed the FA Cup victory for us. I know we were obviously under the cosh for the next 80 minutes, but for me, that is the moment of the season. Let's go into the game of the season, and I'll try not to talk too much about the FA Cup, but you just have to, with it being our first major trophy. In at number 3 is the FA Cup semi-final. I don't think many of us would have ever seen Palace win that emphatically at Wembley in such a big game. And to get us to the final as well is when we really truly believed we could lift this trophy. 3-0 against a very good side, against a side who have beaten lots of good teams this season, PSG in the Champions League, for example. And we just went there and we dominated, and Glasner's game plan was beautiful. In at number 2 is a game from the Premier League, you may be shocked to hear, but it is Brighton away. You know, we haven't had the best of times against Brighton in recent seasons, but this was something different. Away game at the Amex. Ismaila Sarr producing beautiful goals as well. This game had it all. You know, we could have won by multiple goals in that game. Really good game. Obviously, against your rivals, always good to get that win, and it just felt like a really good moment. In at number 1, of course, is the FA Cup final. Do I need to go much into that? I don't think so. Lifting our first ever major trophy, proving the doubters wrong, beating a Galactico in Manchester City, and proving all them people who in March every season go, how boring must it be to support Crystal Palace, silencing them. That was the bit. That was the moment for me. Lots of people say, oh, you'd rather be this team chasing promotion, going up and down every season. No, you would definitely rather be a stable club. We don't just have Premier League stability in our pocket when we are arguing in that debate. We also have a trophy, and now European football. FA Cup final was the peak. The players believed, Glasner believed, and to be honest, a lot of the fans believed we could win. And to just do that and silence all the haters, all the doubters, and to rub it in the faces of rival fans as well was brilliant. And I think what also makes this the game of the season is the fact that I would say 70% of the country were backing us, and that was just that feeling. Everyone wanted that fairy tale, and we got it. And I mean, the moments after, the celebrations after, I mean, we're all still celebrating, let's be honest. It's just beautiful to see. Right, let's go into goal of the season. Now, this for me was really, really hard. There are a lot of good goals we've scored this season. Just want to shout out Sarr. Some great goals from you this season. I kind of want to give all of these joint first place, so I'm just going to list them, and I might let you in the comments decide which ones are your favourites. But we're going Eze's beat Fulham in the FA Cup quarter final. You know, 0-0. That goal was the finish ridiculous. It's so much outside of the goal when it's curling. Unsavable, and what a goal, what a moment. I'm going to put that at number 3. I can't just say I'm going to do an awards and not actually do them. So I'm going to put that in at number 3. In at number 2 for me is again against Fulham, but it was in the Premier League. Daniel Munoz's goal against Fulham. I mean, that counter-attack was beautiful. We love counter-attacks at Crystal Palace. I love a counter-attack personally, so I may be a bit biased in this, but that goal was amazing. I mean, Mateta for the build-up, you know, running 30 yards, nutmegging a Fulham player along the way, giving it to Daniel Munoz, who produced a lovely bit of skill, smashing it into the roof of the net. What a goal. And then finally, in at number 1, I am going with a Premier League goal. And for me, it is Mateta's against Arsenal. I mean, the audacity to do that at the Emirates. The chip from 30, 40 yards, 2-1 down to make it 2-2, and the confidence to do that. And you know why I also put this as the goal of the season? Because of how pivotal it was for the rest of our season. We had just been battered by Man City and Newcastle. 10 goals conceded in them 2 matches, and our confidence had dropped a bit, you know, going into the FA Cup semi-final. Arsenal was our last game before that semi-final. So to pick up a point in the fashion we did was really, really important. Goal of the season for me. And finally, player of the season. Now this is going to cause a lot of debate. So please let me know who your player of the season is. In at number 3 for me, Daniel Munoz. Now, Daniel Munoz has probably been the best right back in the Premier League this season, no doubt. I do not want any arguments, any debate on that. He has. He's also really pivotal to how a Glasner setup works. Bombing down that right wing, the tackling, the defending, the attacking. It's just beautiful. I mean, even that scissor kick pass against Wolves was ridiculous. Combine that with the passion he shows, and Munoz is just a brilliant player, someone we've all fallen in love with this season, and we're so lucky to have him. In at number 2 for me is Eberechi Eze. Now, for me, you simply have to put him in the top 3 despite his slow start to the season. Eze was missing big chances at the start of the season. He wasn't getting them goal contributions, and he wasn't really shining in games. However, these last 4 or 5 months, he has been one of the best attackers in the Premier League, no doubt. Crucial goals in so many matches. I mean, Fulham quarter final, semi-final goal, final goal, and then not even just that. The goals he's been scoring in the Premier League have been really important for us as well. He just scores such beautiful goals, and he just became that talisman. There's always been some doubts from some in the Palace fan base whether Eze could do what the likes of Zaha did, produce match-winning moments, and this season he has. He has been a shining light. Eberechi Eze, please stay at Crystal Palace, man. Please. You are a great, great player and a great person too. But for me, in at number 1 is Dean Henderson. Now, I've always backed Dean Henderson, but a lot of people haven't. There was the whole Johnston Dean Henderson debate, and I think because of Henderson's price tag, he's always had a lot of criticism or a lot of weight on his shoulders. This season, especially from November onwards, Dean Henderson has been fantastic. He has saved us so many points, and not just with normal saves, with world-class saves. There have been moments, I'll give you an example. Villa in the Cup, we're 1-0 up. Dean Henderson produces 3 amazing saves in that game. Shots from outside the box, really good reflex save as well. And then we end up winning that game 2-3-0. He has been so important to stopping teams either getting an equaliser or taking the lead against us, and then us going on to win points because of it. He has been phenomenal. He loves the club. Obviously, saving the penalty in the FA Cup final. I mean, the amount of saves as well he made in the FA Cup final as well, the Doku one as well. But even games like Ipswich, I think when we were 0-0, Henderson would produce an amazing save or a really good save, just a save that you needed to make us stay in the game and then obviously win or draw that game. Dean Henderson, what a player. Amazing season. You're my player of the season. Now, just before we wrap this video up, I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you have enjoyed the awards, but there's someone we need to talk about. Joe Ward. Captain, leader, legend. The main reason we're in the Premier League because of him, because he blocked that ball on the line in the playoff final in extra time when we had the lead. Who knows what could happen if that goal went in? Since then, Joe Ward has been a shining light at the club, both when he's been on the pitch and in his latter years as a captain. 364 appearances, 6 goals, 10 assists, 30,982 minutes played. And as we all know, he is leaving this season. Joe Ward got to play at home in our last home game of the season against Wolves, the 4-2 win. And to be honest, for the 70 minutes he was on the pitch, he looked like he needs a new deal. He was really, really good. It just epitomised who Joel Ward is. The tears at the end probably got lots to well up. It is so sad. How many players do you think will be in football these days that will stay at a club for that many years? I don't think many. Due a testimonial, that's for sure. And as I said, 1 promotion, 71 clean sheets in the Premier League, multiple Wembley appearances, playoff final victory, only cost us £400,000. And to then go from starting his career getting us promoted to ending his career at a club, lifting the FA Cup. What a fairy tale story. Joe Ward, you absolute legend. You will be missed at this club, and the amount I love you is ridiculous. Anyways, that is all for today's video. Let me know if you enjoyed in the comments below and comment who you would award in each category. Which player would you pick for each one? Be sure to subscribe. As I said, there'll be lots of content over the summer. Transfer rumour pieces, news pieces, analytical pieces, all of that. I will hopefully be getting a better camera as well soon. And I'll hopefully be able to, edit these videos a bit more, bring in some graphics and stuff for next season. So yes, please subscribe, please like, please comment. I'll see you later. Up the FA Cup winning Palace.